Have you experienced the awesome power of the Panasonic Real 3DO system? Obviously.
Presenting 3DO, the most advanced home gaming system in the universe. It's time to put away your toys.
3DO from Panasonic, Gold Star, and Creative Labs. A new low price and free games.
Mind-blowing graphics of Panasonic Real 3DO. 3DO.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 3DO Experience, the 3DO retrospective podcast where we talk about all things 3DO, the 3DO company, the console, and everything in between. I am Bill, and this is Thrak. How you doing, Thrak?
Oh, I'm here, Bill. Since last week, it's been kind of rough, but I'm hanging in there, doing what I can to survive. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Just one of those weeks where it's like really busy, but like it's taking like forever at the same time. I think it's because Memorial Day weekend's coming up in like a couple weeks, so I'm just kind of waiting for that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Other than that, though, nothing too crazy. Mostly just getting used to it's warm again. So
Yeah, and it sucks.
see, I like it, but I'm not a cold person.
Well, our air conditioning is out for the moment.
That's rough.
It's probably fine, but one day we had it on and I noticed there was a little bit of like leaking. Like it wasn't terrible, it was just a little bit. And I think it's one of the pipe that it was like right next to might be like slightly misaligned. I'm not sure, but we called in the people to come in and look at it, but they can't look at it until next week. So, but thankfully, I think tomorrow is going to be kind of in the 80s, but then it drops to the 60s for like the rest of the week. So we'll probably be okay.
That's not bad.
Yeah, and my guess is it's probably nothing serious. And even the leaking I saw was very light, but we got to it. It was better. I found it then than say like in the next day or so. It's like, oh, why is there this giant puddle on the floor? Which would be worse. So yeah. So it is what it is. I have my little fan here off camera that I basically just have on forever. And my car is in the shop getting repaired, so I have a rental for the moment, a brand new Toyota Camry. God damn, these new cars are really fancy. The car I have is a 2013, which is over 10 years now. Fuck. But this new one's pretty nice, has all the safety features and everything, and the Bluetooth to my phone is really nice. So so I can scare the hose while I'm driving to work at 7:30 in the morning, which is what you should be doing when you're driving to work.
That's what I do like every morning because I go in at 6, so I have to leave by like 5. So it's like dark.
Yeah. But you heard it here first, everybody. Bill scares the hose.
It happens.
Well, we're recording this on Tuesday. And you guys know me as the Xbox guy. There was some Xbox news today. Bad Xbox news.
The script is flipped. Everyone's mad at Microsoft now because people's attention span goes so fast these days.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Xbox has decided to shut down Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, and there were 2 other studios. I can't remember them off the top of my head. They're all Bethesda studios. There was like 4 that they shut down, and it sucks. Apparently, not everybody is like getting fired. A lot of them, I guess, are going to get moved into different positions at Bethesda. It still sucks that they all got shut down, especially Tango Gameworks, because they just
Tango was the big
Rush.
one.
Yeah, because they just did Hi-Fi Rush, which was really good, and people pulled out a tweet from Aaron Greenberg saying it was a breakout hit for them, and they were like, oh, it was really good, but yet we also heard, oh, it didn't sell that well or whatever. I honestly don't know. Just Xbox just seems like a weird shit show when it comes to like business and administration. Like they're certain people who want it one way and some people who want it another way, and it just seems like a complete mess right now, which isn't a good look. So, and of course, people are now catastrophizing and say, "Oh, is Ninja Theory going to get shut down if Hellblade doesn't succeed?" And I hope that's not the case. Um, from what I've hypothesized is that Bethesda saw how well the Fallout show did, and they're like, "Oh, we don't have a Fallout game like even in development right now." So my guess is Microsoft probably was like, "Okay, we need to reconfigure Bethesda so that they could be a 2-game studio, so they could work on an Elder Scrolls and a Fallout." And I unfortunately think this is how they thought was the best way to do it, which I don't agree with. It seems
it sounds like they were fat trimming, but they did it the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly. Because Arcane isn't gone. Like Arcane Lion still exists. They're the ones who are making that Marvel Blade game. So they're still around. It was the team that did Redfall that went away, which, again, it's like one rough game shouldn't be enough to kill a studio. At least I wish it wasn't, but it and also like Microsoft, they're not the only studio to do this.
Sony does it routinely.
Sony's done it. EA has done it. Take-Two has done it. Ubisoft has done it. Like all the major ones are doing it. I think it's just that like Xbox kind of just did the biggest show of it recently. So it hits really hard, and I understand.
Well, it's also the whole like just the way that like people are nowadays, where like they can only be so mad at something for so long, because let's face it, people already don't give a crap about the Helldivers 2 shit. They've already moved on from that.
See, that whole thing seemed really fucking stupid to me. I don't know.
That just once again proved to me that all you have to do to get Sony to back down is just bully them until they give in.
And it's like, and people were mad that they had to like this game, they had to like make an account for or something. And it's like, don't most like PC games want you to have some kind of account? I don't know. I'm not a PC guy. But like the whole thing just seemed really fucking. It seemed manufactured.
I'm sure there's some deeper reason behind it. I personally didn't give much of a shit because Helldivers 2 is a good game, but I don't really care that much.
It's like, just make the account. Who fucking cares? Like even though I have like Game Pass, I had to go through the rigmarole of making an EA account and like linking it to my Xbox. So that, say, like on the off chance I play like their PGA Tour game or something, I have like access to online features or something stupid. And yeah. I did it because it's like, whatever. It's not that big a deal. And if people are worried about like their like data getting tracked or whatever, it's like, well, one, they already do that. And two, a lot of them now, you can just uncheck the box to be like, no, I don't want you to do that. They probably still do it anyways. But you know what I mean? Like the whole people bitching about Helldivers 2 thing seemed really stupid, like really fucking stupid. And it was like, it was watching brain rot.
You know what it really was. Probably it was a slow news week. It happened and one person got mad about it and it just blew up. That's probably what happened. Like I said, there might be some bigger thing that I'm not really paying attention to because I don't care, frankly. But
I don't either.
I
don't know, and all I can say is I hope that all the other Xbox studios are fine, like Obsidian, Obsidian, Ninja Theory, Double Fine, Compulsion, all those guys. I think they'll be fine. This seemed more like a Bethesda thing than an Xbox thing.
I think this is more of a Bethesda thing, and Microsoft just kind of
has
to be involved.
It feels just like it's Bethesda wanting to restructure. That's what it felt like to me. I mean, it's still shitty the way it was done, absolutely, but that's just my guess. I don't know. Like, people are just seeing like doom and gloom already, and just people catastrophize like crazy. And I get it. Like, the video game industry is not healthy right now. It's in a very weird transitional state of like, people don't know what the next thing is or where we're going. I honestly don't know either. It's one of those. We're in a. They say what is it that they say? It's a curse to live in interesting times or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. where it's like it, who knows? I view it as the industry is like relying way too much on like really big games, like these big AAA games, because it seems like everybody in the industry is waiting for GTA 6 to come out and like fix everything, because things are down. And so people are like, oh, GTA 6 will like come in and fix everything. It's like, well, GTA 6 is going to sell incredibly well. It's going to do, it's probably going to break all the records GTA 5 set, but it's just like, that's not a good industry when like everything else is relying on that, and then you have like, I think I saw something, it was like 60% of like the games being played or like 60% of like the game time or whatever is just spent on like 6 games. And the 6 games are like Fortnite, Roblox, Warzone, whatever, Minecraft,
PUBG.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
PUBG, all that stuff. And a lot of devs are like, how the fuck do we deal with this? The fact that just like most people are just playing that.
Well, it's like
I mean?
they say like Netflix's biggest competitor is Fortnite. Not because of streaming, just in terms of like attention, like that it's taking from like potential viewers.
Yeah, and I'd heard somebody, I forget where I heard this, but somebody said that like Minecraft and Fortnite and Roblox and all that, in a way, kids are probably treating that the way we used to treat, say, like, MSN back in the day, where it's like, it's just a thing you socialize with your friends with, and that's kind of the vibe I've gotten from some of like, some of the people I've talked to who are younger than me who play games. They usually just play like I knew one guy who just played Apex, but the only reason he played a lot of Apex was because him and a group of friends played it. So they would just hang out and play that. You know what I mean? It's a thing kids do to socialize, which isn't a bad thing at all. But I don't know. Things are just fucking weird right now.
Yeah.
Like the industry, you could tell the industry wants more people like us, like you and me, who just buy and play all the weird shit that comes out because we're just interested in all of it. They want more of us, but they don't know how to get more of us, and I don't know either. I would like to see more of a return to like smaller games, like AA games. That would be nice.
I like being able to finish a game within a couple of days, not like.
Yeah, I'm tired of every AAA game being like this open world 50+ hour thing. It's fucking ridiculous, man. They all don't need to be this. Like GTA is going to be that, but that's what GTA has always been. So I don't know. But go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, if you're going to make a game that's massive, at least put stuff in the world, because that's the big Assassin's Creed problem I have, is like those worlds are very nice and large, but like there's so little to do in them at times.
Like I just beat Jedi Survivor the other day and really like Jedi Survivor. Jedi Survivor is a great game. It's definitely worth playing, especially if you liked Fallen Order. But like the biggest issue I had with it was all the maps were just, it felt they were way too big. It's not an open world game or anything, but there's so much area to cover in all the maps, right? Like much more than Fallen Order, but it follows the same game design as Fallen Order, where, like the little side tracks you do, you just get some cosmetics and some light stuff, like nothing that crazy. And you get some like, occasional health upgrades and things like that, which are nice. But the game felt like it was much bigger than it needed to be. Like, I think my playtime of Fallen Order was like a little over 20 hours, probably 22 or 23 hours. And then this playthrough of Jedi Fallen Order, I crossed like 35 pretty easily. I mean, it's still not like a super long game or anything, but it's just, it felt like it was way bigger than it needed to be, just in terms of the map size. Yeah. But I guess it was a thing of they weren't sure what to do, I guess, to the map. Because honestly, everything else is better. It's much more refined. Like the story is a lot better. Combat feels better. Movement's better. They added like the Sekiro grapple hook, so that was cool. There's a lot of cool things about the game, and I'll be curious to what part 3 is going to do, because despite all the bullshit EA's doing, we know we're getting a third part of this Jedi series, because the first 2 have done really well, and it was envisioned to be a trilogy. So we'll probably hear about that, I'd say, in a couple years.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I hope that third one better not be open world, or I'll be fucking pissed. Because I even heard that like what game did I hear was going to be open world and people were not happy with it? There's probably a few of those. Like, I think it was Resident Evil 9. I heard Resident Evil 9, and it's
I
like,
heard about that.
it's like, are you really? Does 9 need to be open world? Like, I don't know. I don't know about that. Like, I heard like Gear 6 could potentially be open world, which they already kind of flirted with that in 5, which is a mixed response kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know. Like, if we keep going this way, the industry is going to crash again. Like, it's just going to happen because this model isn't sustainable. And I don't know. The only thing I could think to fix it would just be to like trim the fuck down and be like, guys, let's just like calm this down and just start making a bunch of smaller games that we can get out quicker. Because it seems the answer is just more product for people to get. And the only way you're going to make more product is just, make smaller games, because even when, I think it was when Sony had the Insomniac leaks or whatever, and they were like, oh, Spider-Man 2 costed this much to develop, and it was a lot of fucking money. And even though it's sold, how many copies of that game sold now? Like 10 million or something?
A lot. It was very successful.
Yeah, but apparently it's like barely broke even.
Yeah.
On those numbers. And it's like, I don't know how the fuck do you sustain that. I really don't. And you have like, Square Enix being the biggest, notoriously like, oh, this underperformed kind of company. And, Square Enix is doing their bullshit right now too. So like, who knows what's going to happen, honestly, but it's just, we're not in good times.
No.
We're not. No. And I feel bad for everybody at Bethesda and Xbox who have like lost their jobs over this. Because even one of the dudes who like works there like made a like a tweet about how this was like, oh yeah, the Arcane Lion director basically like made a couple tweets about how like this fucking sucks, basically. He's like, this is dog shit. Like, and his job wasn't affected at all, but he's just like, this didn't need to happen. And I completely agree, because it's fucking Microsoft. They have the money to keep these people up.
I have a very strong suspicion, like we had kind of alluded to it earlier, Microsoft is kind of just there through this whole thing. This was all Bethesda kind of working at its own.
Yeah, but like Microsoft is bankrolling them because they fucking own them. So
yeah, I feel
Microsoft's a $1 trillion company. Like they have the money to keep an extra like 1,900 people on the payroll. Like I don't know, man. Like if they wanted Arcane Austin to help out on like the next Fallout game, they could have just been like, hey, all right, next thing is you guys are going to help out on the next Fallout game. They didn't have to close them. If they wanted Tango to do that, or I don't know. I heard Tango was kind of on shaky ground when Shinji Mikami left anyways.
Yeah, that's kind of why I feel like they didn't even bother keeping the name around. They just moved everyone somewhere else. Yeah,
because like they weren't going to fire Shinji Mikami. Like there's like that's way too bad of press to do that if he was still there,
Yeah.
Like that's not a good look because he's a legend. So I don't know. I don't know what Shinji Mikami's doing these days. Is he just done?
He might have moved to some other project. I haven't really paid attention lately.
Let's see. He left in February of last year. He planned to leave apparently 8 years prior, but he's like, oh, they got all these games in the works. I'll make sure they're done. So his personal reasons to leave, he comments a desire to create an environment for young developers to gain experience and to distance himself from the survival horror genre. So my guess is he might be making a small indie studio again.
Yeah, the typical with these big name creators, they'll make a thing, get it off the ground, and then they move on to something else.
Yeah, and then he's like, I don't want to do survival horror anymore. God damn it, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Wasn't it the only reason he did Evil Within was because everyone begged him to do a survival horror game?
Yeah, pretty much.
He just went, fuck it.
Yeah, and he went fucking off the rails and made it like exactly what he would have done if he had like all the freedom. And admittedly, it was a very good game.
What I've played of Evil Within 1, I did like.
2 was even better, so.
Yeah, so I like to get back to him at some point, but
before we get to
I mean, hell, if the industry is about to like, I wouldn't be shocked if say like the industry crash and there's like say a 1.5 year period where nothing major comes out.
Could happen.
And the thing is, it would hurt the industry, but I feel like all of us would just be like, oh, thank God we just play our fucking backlogs now. You know, like a crash of this industry would affect the industry, but it wouldn't affect us. At least I don't think so. Because like all these companies would make sure to keep all like the servers up so we could still play, so they could still get some money coming in, you know.
And like
So-
the original Crash, I mean, it's probably going to be strictly like an American thing again, anyways, because like Japan wasn't even affected by the original Crash either. So
I'm sure. I mean, I don't know the numbers. I'm sure, but I know Japan's game industry is different than ours.
yeah,
I mean, hell, like every time Capcom does well, they're just like, oh, everybody gets a raise.
Yeah.
and like Nintendo's retention rate is what, 98%?
yeah. Generally, people who work at Nintendo don't leave. So
Yeah. Well, I think we know the true culprit of this, and that is Western capitalism. That's the real problem. I said it. I said the quiet part out loud. We know it's the fucking problem, okay?
Speaking of that, somewhat, we should probably. This is a 3DO podcast. We should probably touch on the limited run games incident recently.
Oh fuck. Yeah. You say that, Bill. I need to take a swig of water.
Yeah. So recently, Limited Run has announced that they're making 3DO games all of a sudden. And their whole big thing was they're re-releasing Plumbers Don't Wear Ties and D of all games. Well, it was discovered that the copies of D that they had printed were printed on CDRs. And apparently they didn't work on every 3DO.
Yeah, so the version of D is already out. That Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, it was like a 1-day pre-order thing. And it was around the time we had finished the episode, I think.
Yes. It was like, I think the day after, like literally.
Yeah, and I just went, fuck it. I ordered it. I think it was like, what, $69 or something stupid. So, and as far as I know, it's either not shipping or arriving until August. Like that's what it had said. So when that comes out, I will probably do like an unboxing of it and upload it on YouTube.
Nice.
So to see if they remain the CDR thing. Cause yeah, like the thing is like CDRs, it's basically, they just took like a stack of discs that you could just buy at like a Walmart or something for nothing and just burn them with like a CD burner, which isn't the same thing as like pressing the data into a disc. It is a different process. And that's the thing, when you burn data to a disc, I know with 3DO that people have attempted this in the past to like burn games to discs to play them on 3DOs because they are, like there's no region
protection.
coding, there's no copy protection. But 3DO homebrewers and people know that that's not a guaranteed workaround. It would be one thing if all 3DOs played CDRs, no problem. Nobody would fucking care. But it like, because it's such a open source type of system, that's why it's so weird, because every part of the process could be fucked. Like, your CD burner could like not burn it at the right speed. The CDs that you used could not be like the right type of metal or something. Like the engine, the motor of your like CD drive could be slightly faulty. There's so many gaps in the process of burning a 3DO game file onto a CD and playing it that could be fucked up. And that's kind of the issue.
The other
major
thing was their testing process. They made a big deal about how they tested 5 3DOs and it worked in every single one. They neglected to mention what 3DO models they even tested. Like, for all we know, they tested 5 FC10s or 5 FC1s. And
I wouldn't be surprised if they had like an FC1 and an FC10. They probably have like 2 of them. But like they probably, do they have a gold star?
I doubt
probably
it.
Not.
They definitely don't have a Sanyo because those things are rare as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, limited run, I mean, they could potentially have the money to find them, but yeah, the whole thing just, I mean, this is another notch in their belt of just fucking up like really bad, like they've really hurt their reputation over the years,
Like,
from just Like, I mean, I ordered some stuff from them, and yeah, I had stuff arrive damaged. I've never dealt with their customer service, but I know their customer service is dog shit. At least from what I've heard. And it's just a shame that so many companies are doing their physical editions through them rather than just doing them themselves. Which says to me, is limited run like fronting the costs for all these companies to do it? I don't know. It's a best. There are other companies that do this kind of limited run thing, but it's like much smaller, like indie stuff. You know what I mean? Like limited run are doing fucking like the Lara Croft collection and like the Castlevania collection and like Hi-Fi. I think they're doing Hi-Fi Rush, assuming that physical edition's still happening. I have a feeling it is, but you know, like all the like they're doing like some like big notable games now, which just seems so weird to me. You know, like Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon got a physical.
Yeah.
Just out of the blue. They're like, here's that. And I'm like, what?
I just find it really hilarious. The game that broke the fucking camel's back was fucking D of all games.
So to the D fans that listen, I hope you guys are happy.
You know what's funny too? D's not even that rare of a game. Well, the 3DO version's rare, but like the Saturn version is pretty common. Like it's not.
Yeah,
even,
but people wanted the 3DO version. Like Limited Run have kind of attached themselves to the 3DO,
and they've fucked up everything they've tried with it so far, which is kind of hilarious.
I mean, Plumber, their remaster Plumbers was fine.
The remaster, I have no problem with, even if there was some laziness in there. But I mean,
yeah, oh yeah.
The fucking dungeon crawler, I fucking love and hate at the same time. But
glorified menu.
Yeah. Yeah, but I just that whole situation was bizarre, and it's like I was like I love the fact that 3DO is getting publicity, but this isn't the publicity I wanted.
Yeah, and then Limited Run was like, "Oh no, we did it, we swear," or whatever. It was fucking weird. Yeah,
you know what?
It was weird.
You know what it does though? It gives me so much more appreciation for World of Games and like the amount of effort they put into fucking BioFury.
Yeah, like it was fantastic, and I guarantee you that disc was pressed. No burning here.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
Ran floss on both my FC10 and 1. So.
Oh yeah. So, but at the very least, I can say Limited Run. I'm glad they do digital publishing as well. So that we can get this stuff, you know, like you just like download it on your Xbox or whatever, and you're good to go, which is nice. And the whole Carbon Engine thing that they're doing, I think is really cool. Which I guess the Carbon Engine is just like a fancier RetroArch or something. That's them like able to have like a hub that they can do like some really nice emulated remasters of old games, which is cool that exists, you know. So. You know,
yeah,
there are nice things about it, but like, still, it's fucking dog shit. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just not in a good mood, and this stuff just didn't help.
No, but yeah. So I guess moving on though, for our game for this episode, by far the longest game we've covered so far.
Oh yeah, Wing Commander, which has fucking Mark Hamill in, and he pissed me off the other day. God damn it.
Oh god, do I want to know?
He was at not to get too political, but he was at a White House press briefing, and Hamill's one of those guys who is a one of those like Hollywood libs, you know the types, and he said some really cringy. He was like he called Biden Joby-Wan Kenobi, but I think more of the cringy thing is that like he's a Zionist. And you know, not to get too deep into that, but you know, it's harder and harder to be pro-Israel these days, you know. Just
saying. Yeah, I'm gonna respectfully not touch that.
That's fine.
But yeah, Wing Commander 3 though.
Yeah, boy. I didn't get very far in this one. There was one mission I just couldn't beat.
Okay.
I just couldn't do it. And it was on the first fucking disc too. And I couldn't beat it.
That's fair, because there's some things about the 3DO version that make it probably not the definitive way to play this game.
Yeah, I actually watched some footage of like the PC version. and
Mhm.
it looked much more appealing to me.
Yeah. So I played the PlayStation version because I don't currently own the 3DO port. And
For the audience at home, here's the 3DO version. Like I love the art for it. You know, it just looks like a Drew Struzan type like movie poster. You know, what's weird is the USRB logo is a sticker.
yeah, that's
And-
odd.
Yeah, and then like some nice stills on the back, and you open the thing and you get shit's flying everywhere. This is the unboxing, kids. You get discs 1 and 2, and discs 3 and 4. You get like this whole your personalized guide to the TCS Victory Streak, which is a thick ass booklet. You get like a big poster or like a poster with more information on it. I have the little like mailer that you mail in to get like a free Wing Commander shirt. I should totally file it. And the most important thing is the reference card, because what's cool is it supports the 3DO joystick, which is
Nice.
cool. It's got to be annoying in the walking around segments, but the reference card, which is just basically here's all the controls you're gonna need, which
So-
definitely helped.
You had asked me if the PlayStation version also included that, and I'm happy to say yes, it did.
Yeah, because this game reeks of PC game ported to console,
Yeah.
which
Well, even
in
the
the
PC
90s
version
was more painful.
even the PC version had the reference card, because this game, I have a lot of positive things to say about that we'll get into, but this game is like the definition of a guide game in a lot of ways.
Yeah, much like some of the games we've played on the show. I have a lot of respect for this game.
Mhm.
You know, it much like Alone in the Dark and Flashback. You know, I respect this game a lot. I would say this is easily the best of those three.
Yeah, this game has it's aged, but it hasn't aged the worst.
Its production value is very high. And you can tell Origin Systems are
Sure.
competent developers and they're making a very, very good product. But I can't say the 3DO version is the way to go.
No.
I would have to play. I feel like this is a game if you want to play it, if it's on GOG, just get it on there or Steam or wherever.
So before we start, I actually have a list of things that were changed for the 3DO version. If you'd like me to share some of those.
Oh yeah, from the Wikipedia page, right?
Yep. So the biggest thing that's probably the biggest kind of reason why I'd say not to play this for the 3DO version. Difficulty select was removed for 3DO, and basically you're stuck in what is considered the veteran, or I want to say, I guess, like normal mode or maybe hard mode. I'm not really sure on that.
Veteran sounds like hard.
Yeah, so you're kind of stuck to one's thing. They completely cut out all the stages on planetary surfaces and just replaced them with full motion video.
I don't mind that so much because the full motion video is very well done.
True. I think that full motion video is in the PlayStation version as well, but you just get more gameplay.
Yeah.
Manual takeoffs were removed and replaced with FMVs. That's actually a plus because you didn't experience murdering your teammate on a manual takeoff. I did that.
I will say the struggle I had was when I had to land the plane after the first mission. I was like, what the fuck do I do? I had no idea. Like I was like, oh, do I fly up to the ship? No, I would just get hit. Like I was trying everything I could think of, and then I was like, hold on, let me get that reference card. And then I did. And it was like, oh, you have to communicate with the ship by holding like R and B and then going. And I'm like, what the fuck? Well, I have to talk to the ship. Like, sure, I guess. But, you know, this is definitely an era where like flight sim games, I guess, were still very much in their infancy. Like this is a pre Rogue Squadron, pre Ace Combat even type of world where I think the only reference point I could think of for this would be like the like Rebel Assault, like the X-Wing TIE Fighter games, which are pretty good. You know, that kind of stuff. And Wing Commander is definitely a game that like old heads have a lot of respect for.
Oh yeah.
Because it definitely pushed like flying games and just kind of gaming in general forward. You know,
Before we move on, I will say like the rest of the differences are mostly just either cosmetic or there's say a new enemy here or there's like a cutscene missing. It's nothing major. They did fix a bug that's infamous in the PC version, so there is that. That bug is also fixed in the PlayStation version. The PlayStation version is basically identical to the PC with the exception of the bug fix and the load times are kind of horrendous on the PlayStation version. I'll say that.
Yeah, load times here were no problem.
They're bad on PlayStation, like really bad.
Oh boy.
Um,
How were the FMVs? Like
so
the quality of them?
I did side by sides. The resolution's a little better, but for the most part, the quality is like almost identical.
Yeah, I mean they are compressed, but they're not horribly compressed like some tend to be.
Yeah.
And I think it helps that like the acting is really good and like the cinematography is good, like the shots are well done.
Oh, yeah.
The dialogue flows really smoothly. It has that occasional like video game kind of, you know, like weird cut here and there. But it's handled a lot better. You can tell the actors that they got. I mean, they're all like solid actors,
Yeah.
you know, like
There's
Mark Hamill's a great actor, Malcolm McDowell's a great actor, John Rhys Davies, Tom Wilson. They got Biff. They got
Biff.
fucking Biff in this. And he's essentially playing Space Biff. And he's great.
yes.
I love him. Yeah, I love seeing Tom Wilson and everything. He does a lot of stand-up comedy now, and he has like a song called, I think it's like The Answers or The Questions or whatever, and it's just basically him doing like a little guitar like Q&A or like FAQ basically, which is funny. So check that out if you guys haven't seen it. Tom Wilson, he's a great comedian.
John Rhys Davies played a character named Thracketh.
Yes. So yeah, that can. It wasn't Wing Commander, but you know.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Yeah, and like it has like a Wookiee kind of character. I forget the name of that race because it feels very Star Trek. Having like say like this race feels like the Klingons or like the Romulans or whatever, but like one of them is on your side. Like this guy is Worf basically.
The Kilrathi.
Yeah, well, Klingons probably not accurate because by the time Worf showed up in TNG, the Trade Federation and the Klingons had a kind of a rough treaty alliance, which I think was like because like Star Trek 6, the movie Undiscovered Country was like the last major fight with the Klingons, and then between that and TNG is when they kind of figured out the treaty basically, and then like Worf, I believe he was born to Klingon parents, but I think he ended up at the academy, I think. And so he's considered kind of a weaker Klingon because he didn't grow up in the customs, but like he desperately wants to be part of the Klingons. Like he knows all the rituals and everything. Like there's a great early episode where some Klingons come on board the Enterprise. And he's trying so hard to like be a part of them, but they just view him as like an outsider, you know, like I can't remember the name of the episode, but I really enjoyed that stuff. Like whenever Worf is talking to like hanging with other Klingons, it's usually really interesting. So this might be closer to like, say like the Romulans or even the Ferengi, you know, that kind of thing. But there is like a Star Trek reference. There's a big Star Trek influence in here. It has some Star Wars-ness as well, not just Mark Hamill being there, but like all like the hangar scenes when he's like climbing up into the plane. It's like, oh yeah, this is just like, you know, episode 4 when he goes out to the Death Star.
Speaking
like
the
cinematography feels very Star Wars.
Speaking of Star Trek, Malcolm McDowell was in Star Trek Generations, so there's another
oh yeah, you're right. Fuck.
Another connection there.
God damn it. That movie.
John Rhys Davies was Da Vinci in Star Trek Voyager. I just remembered that as well.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I haven't seen Voyager in a while.
He was Janeway's like holodeck buddy. Fucking love that shit.
Yeah, Voyager is such a. I could go on a tangent about Voyager, but like it's a good show, but it could have been the best one.
Yeah,
and they kind of fucked it up, but that's a story for another day.
That'll be when we get mad on and we just talk Star Trek for an entire episode.
There we go. I'd be down with that.
So it's funny, like Mark Hamill being in this was kind of interesting to me because this was like right around like the end of him as like a screen actor before he kind of went full on like voice actor or like.
Didn't he always want to be a voice actor? Like that was more his desire. At least that's what he has said, that he always kind of wanted to do like animation and work in that area because he found that stuff more inspiring than just actual like acting. But he went into acting because it was easier to get gigs than
At the
like as a
time,
voice
yeah.
actor. Because in the 70s, yeah, like being a voice actor was not prolific at all. It didn't have any prestige to it. I don't think he cared about that, but
Well, I mean, because as an actor, he's okay, but I've never thought he was like the greatest like screen actor by any means.
I think he's fine.
Like he's not bad. He's just kind of like he's very serviceable, I guess is like the best way to say it. But he's not like
He works
don't-
as Luke. He works fantastically as Luke because he sort of has that kind of boyish thing when he was Luke, where it's like, yeah, it's not the best, but he's like kind of figuring it out. It fits for some reason, I think, like him as Luke. But
then,
outside of that, yeah,
like years later down the line, then he becomes the fucking Joker, and he is like the definitive voice of that character to this
Yeah.
day.
yeah, and he still does voice acting roles to this day. Like when you become a voice actor, you just end up doing so much stuff. Like it's ridiculous. Like he's done like a bunch of video game roles. Like he's been in the Gabriel Knight series. He was in Full Throttle. He's fucking Goro Majima in the first Yakuza game, like the
For the-
PS2 original.
So memorable that he doesn't even fucking remember doing it.
Yeah, which is great. He's in fucking Kingdom Hearts games.
Oh
like
yeah,
Legend of Spyro, Darksiders. Like
you'll hear his voice pop up a lot.
Oh, exactly. Oh shit, he was the narrator in Big Red 1. Yeah, he was. That's crazy. What's so funny is people have asked him about like the video game stuff, and I don't think he remembers any of the video game stuff
No,
because I think he just kind of lumps it all together. I mean, I'd be curious to ask him about the Wing Commander stuff because it's probably more. He probably remembers it more because there was a lot of on-screen acting, So I don't know, but
I mean his performance in Wing Commander is pretty good. Like
I
he's-
like him. He feels like an older Luke Skywalker, doesn't he?
like an older
like-
Luke
like-
Skywalker before like the grizzled like bum Skywalker we got in fucking
It-
the Disney Star Wars movies.
If Luke Skywalker was just a pilot and never was a Jedi,
Hmm.
he would be Colonel Christopher Blair.
Yeah. So I guess before we get deeper into the game, we should talk about Origin Systems a little bit. They are
Rip. Speaking of dead companies,
one of the many victims of EA.
mm,
Origin Systems they're a fascinating developer. Like they're most famous for the Ultima series of Western RPGs that are like too much RPG.
oh yeah, Richard Garriott, Lord British.
Mhm.
What is he doing these days? He's probably not
Um,
doing it. He's probably not doing it. Apparently, he does
He-
space stuff.
He's
He
an
has fucking-
entrepreneur and private astronaut.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Good for him.
Oh God. He has flown to the International Space Station. So before like Bezos and Elon was doing all this shit, Lord British was doing this off of selling fucking Ultima,
Yep.
which is just boggles my mind. Like what
Now-
the hell, dude?
The other series that they were most known for was Wing Commander, and the man behind Wing Commander is kind of an infamous guy these days. Not for anything super bad, just because of his inability to finish a game. Chris
Oh, they-
Roberts.
They published the original System Shock.
They did.
Huh. Well, I'll be damned. We can make a connection from Wing Commander to BioShock.
That we can.
Hell yeah.
So Chris Roberts Chris Roberts is essentially the Hideo Kojima of Wing Commander.
You didn't have to say Kojima is just like he's the main guy.
Well, I say that because like it's to the point where he has
Oh.
he's got his name on the fucking case, like a Chris Roberts game kind of thing.
Oh, he does. I never saw that. Yeah, there it is. Here, let me pull up. Down there.
Yes.
That's cute. Again, I think it adds to the cinematic nature of it. Do you think Kojima saw that and went, I could do that?
Does this game predate Metal Gear? I think they came
Yeah.
out. Yeah, it does by a little bit.
This came out late 94. Metal Gear Solid was 90. Oh, it was 98.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear had been out already.
Well, yeah.
Those are different. Those don't count. No, they do, but they're different.
I say hit Kojima because Chris Roberts was very much into the cinematic aspect of gaming. Like, he wanted to take like those FMV games and actually make a legitimate game around them that actually flowed properly, which he really did. Because Wing Commander, to me, is like the real beginning of like kind of mixing the cinematic with gameplay almost seamlessly.
It's definitely one of those games when people talk about like good FMV games in terms of like really good acting and production value. This one always gets brought up as they're like, holy shit, they got all these like big name actors and like the acting isn't like corny dumb or just like over the top silly. And the game itself is pretty all right.
Like you can actually take all the cutscenes and watch them in like a movie form on like YouTube, and it's actually makes sense and it's actually pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you don't watch it because it's bad, you watch it because it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, and it's like 90s sci-fi, so you know what you're getting yourself into,
You know what game this series kind of this game in particular kind of reminded me of?
Yeah, the movie is it's just under 2.5 hours. I may end up watching it just out of curiosity.
That's why this is a 4-discer, because it's mostly FMV.
Yeah, that's what's taking up that disc space. I guarantee you the game itself could probably fill one of those discs, no problem.
Yes. Yeah, it's funny when I was playing this, because I haven't played this game in like a decade, because I played it back when it came out and then that was it. I forgot how much this game reminded me of Mass Effect.
I could see that.
Because like there's the segments where you're just walking around the ship and just chatting with your crew members.
That's the best part of the game.
Oh yeah, it's
I love
fun.
all that stuff. Yeah, like I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but
so
like,
there was the two female the love interests, because you can do that in this game as well. I killed mine by accident, but
and then the EA connection as well.
So there was Rachel Corollis and Robin Flint Peters.
The one I'm thinking of, I can't remember. It's just I remember going into the locker room, and you just see her like sitting there, like her legs like man spread or whatever, and she's just sharpening a knife, like very menacingly, and just looking up at you while she's sharpening. She's like, "That damn fucking Wookiee! I hate Wookiees."
I want to say Flint, maybe.
She's Ashley. She's the space racist of this game.
Yeah. And you can date her.
I killed Ashley and felt nothing.
I killed
actually,
Caden.
no, that's no. Actually, I killed Caden because I thought that's actually not. Yeah, I killed Caden because I thought Caden was boring, and I thought, well, Ashley's a more interesting character, so I'm curious to see her character development. She has some, but you had
to wait till the third game. But yeah, she has some.
Yeah, she basically doesn't exist in 2. So
well, she shows up for a cutscene where she yells at you for betraying her, and then goes away for the rest of the game.
And I was like, man, I was gonna bone you, but now that you're being an asshole, I'm gonna go bone what was her name, Miranda.
I didn't like Miranda, but that's for another story.
I kind of like Miranda, and I hate that I do, because don't they say like she's genetically engineered for the male gaze, basically?
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn it, I fell for it.
And then they gave Ashley a fan service upgrade in the third game because of Miranda.
That was bad. And she spends most of that game in a fucking hospital bed.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Or drunk on the
play
floor.
Mass Effect. Can we just talk about Mass Effect? Fuck this game. Mass Effect's great.
We'll do that in the future.
Hold on. Too many games. Yeah. Love it.
Nice.
And I still need to play it. I have it. I'll do Mass Effect Andromeda. I'll play it one of these days. I need to know.
So going back to Wing Commander though, I love the walking around the ship segments though, like just chatting them up. Like, did you accidentally make enemies all the time?
No. And what the fuck was her name? She was the girl who was like, she had like the default loadouts or whatever. Was it Ashley? Was that her name?
So there was Rachel and there was Robin. They were the two girls.
It might have been Rachel, because she was the girl who was like, hey, like if you want to change your loadout before the mission, like come on this computer or whatever, we'll chat. And every time I'm like, she wants to fuck you. Like, it's obvious. Like, she's giving you the fucking bedroom eyes, the whole 9. And I was like, shit. And I didn't get far enough. I assume something happens. I doubt
You
this
can,
game I doubt the game goes as far as say Mass Effect does.
No,
which
no, you
still
don't-
isn't- which still isn't that far, but
You don't see anything fun, but you can.
I don't know if I'd want to see like Mark Hamill take his like shirt off and like try to like, this isn't like Empire Strikes Back where he's like kind of ripped. Like, this is, you can tell he has like a bit of a gut and all that, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but like, that's for his wife to see. That's not for me.
Yeah. No, there's nothing too insane, but you can date them, and you can also accidentally get them killed, like I did in the final mission.
Yeah, I remember I looked up a walkthrough of this, and there was a bunch of like mission trees, and they all were basically like, oh, if you let your wingman or wing person die at like this mission, like everything like alters the course or whatever.
You can kill your wingman on takeoff, like I did multiple times.
Yeah, why would you do such a thing?
Because the takeoff, like manual takeoff, is fucking stupid, and always do automatic. Never do it yourself, because it's
That's
gonna end
great.
badly.
That's amazing.
You don't.
Anyways, Chris Roberts, what were you saying about him?
Oh, yeah.
Before we got sidetracked.
Yeah, Chris Roberts is one of those types that is very much like, he goes like super hard into everything he does. Like he's a perfectionist in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and I totally get that when I looked up his most recent project.
Yeah, Star Citizen. It's still in development. It's never coming out as far as I'm concerned, but you can play it. So
there's a lot of he just went hard into the sci-fi stuff. Like every other game he's done, like Star Lancer, Frontier Wars, Freelancer. I'm like, this all just looks like he still wants to do Wing Commander, but he like lost the rights to it or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he has another fucking game in development called Squadron 42, which I guess is connected to Star Citizen. Oh,
Yep.
It's the single player version.
Yep.
And he's getting, the cast includes Gary Oldman, Mark Hamill, Gillian Anderson, Mark Strong, Lee. Like, holy shit. Got all these big name actors to
They
do
probably
this.
recorded their parts years ago, and they're gonna look so much younger than they are now in this game.
Yeah, wasn't it like this like raised like a shit ton of money in crowdfunding, and
Yep.
then and yeah, it still hasn't. Is it available in any sort of playable state?
You can play the beta, and apparently it's really fun, but it's just fucking never coming out at this point.
Yeah, it was announced in 2012. Had a Kickstarter. Pre-production began in 2010, with production starting in 2011. It's garnered criticism for its long production process, a lack of a clear release date, the challenges backers have faced in getting a refund after abandoning the project. Launch of the game was initially anticipated in 2014. So, like,
Yeah.
it's just I think this happened with Duke Nukem Forever. This is probably happening with Beyond Good and Evil 2 as well. And that's like the main person at the helm just wants this to be like the biggest, best thing ever, and are like trying to stay up to date with everything. And this is a case of the guy just seems way too ambitious. And it's like, dude, calm the fuck down.
Yeah. It's
'Cause even if this game comes out now and it's perfectly fine, it's going to get dog shit on.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like the whole idea is like it's a massive space universe, and we've in that time had No Man's Sky, which admittedly had a rough start, but is a very good game these days.
Yeah.
Starfield, which isn't everyone's cup of tea, but is a pretty decent game from what I've heard.
Starfield's fine.
Mass Effect I think released throughout this entire game's development.
No, Mass Effect 1 was in, I think, 2007.
Right.
And then Mass Effect 2 was 2010. and then 3 was 2013,
So
and then
it-
Andromeda was
are-
2017. So most of it was done in that time. Yeah, Mass Effect, which you can get the whole thing now in one nice little compact collection, and it's amazing. You know, like
Yes.
just play this. Star Citizen people, just play this. Though I'm sure some of them did, but fuck, I want to play Mass Effect again.
But the most baffling thing about Star Citizen is the fact that it crowdfunded over $676 million.
Which is insane. Like that's like most big budget AAA games don't even get like half that.
And it's like not, apparently he's developing it in like portions too, which is bizarre.
Yeah, it's like and he has like contract developers helping him out as well. Apparently, like there's like private funding as well within the game or something, where it's like he's had people like help bankroll the development of, like the whole thing just seems
yeah.
really fucked up.
For reference, his last original game before Star Citizen was Freelancer, and that came out in 2003.
Yeah, like I don't know what, I just don't know. Like I don't think he's fleecing everybody, but I could see why people would think that.
I think he's a George Broussard, only less insane, who is basically, he's such a perfectionist that he just can't stop.
Yeah, and there's been like legal issues as well. Like a bunch of people try to get their money back, and like there's been like court cases about it, and Crytek sued them over using the Cry engine or something.
Probably.
Yeah, fuck. And then wow.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing. That's what Chris Roberts is known for these days. But back in the day, he was the wing commander guy.
Yeah, that like again, this feels like something that could only happen in like the US. Whereas I feel like a European developer couldn't get away with this bullshit.
No. No, not at all.
Yeah, because I imagine if he just streamlined it and just released the game as like a wing commander type game, it'd be fine. But with all the money he got, like he can't do that. He fucking can't do that. It's not a good look.
Yeah. So
The
going back,
website just crashed on me. I tried to get it to load. I'm not even kidding. And I was just looking at it and it just crashed on me. Okay, now it's working. And yeah, these cutscenes look really, like the footage I'm seeing looks really nice, but there's no reason to be hyped. Like zero reason.
all the people I know that were interested in the game back in the day, they don't give a shit anymore. They've moved on to other things.
Yeah. Honestly, you could just say this is footage for like the next Mass Effect in development. And I'd be like, yep, that's what it looks like. It looks like Mass Effect.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking play Mass Effect.
Yeah, I still think Mass Effect kind of broke the sci-fi meta for me, because there just hasn't been a game since that has really topped it.
Yeah, for real. Like Mass Effect was such an amazing trilogy of games. Like weirdly replayable despite being so story driven. Having just enough RPG mechanics to not be tiring. It had it in the right places with the dialogue trees and all the relationships you can develop with people, and the gameplay is super solid, and it's just so much fun. Like the time I spent in Mass Effect was so much fun. I still think about it.
No, Mass Effect is an amazing game, and that's why
The whole trilogy is great.
Oh yeah. But that's why I say, like, when I was playing this the whole time, I was like, this reminds me so much of Mass Effect. Like the ship segments alone, just going from character to character, because it has kind of the same kind of like gameplay loop where you go around the ship, talk to everybody, do your get your like relationships up, then you go and do a mission.
It's like Animal Crossing. You do your dailies.
Yep.
You check in with everybody to be sure everybody's okay, and then you're like, all right, on to the next mission.
Yep.
But Mass Effect never had ship combat.
No, it really, which is interesting to me in a lot of ways that they never did that.
I think it's fine because I mean it would have been cool to control. Oh fuck, what was the name of the ship?
The Normandy.
The Normandy. It would have been cool to do that, but you know, it's okay. If it was the one thing we didn't get to be sure that the series was good, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
because they had that one in Mass Effect 1 that like
the Mako,
the Mako, which I thought the Mako was fine, but. To be fair, I played on the Legendary Edition, which was the remake,
Yeah, and they
of
fixed
Mass
a lot
Effect
of
1,
that.
and it's much easier to control. So,
I think the problem with the Mako was those planets were so fucking lifeless. But
yeah, it was not worth. I explored, I think, like 5 of them. And I was
oh,
just like, yeah, it's not fucking worth doing.
I did every fucking one because I'm a fucking masochist.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, man.
Um,
Anyways, there's not much to say about Wing Commander, and that's really nice.
yeah, the gameplay, the flight combat is pretty good. Like it's
Yeah,
not
it's fine.
bad. It's just so repetitive. That's the
Yeah.
biggest problem with this game.
Yeah, like I wanted to play a little bit of Ace Combat 7 to try to compare it, which I think is unfair. But like, hell, even comparing it to say the Rogue Squadron games, which come out like shortly after this, like those games are so much better.
Oh yeah.
Like Crimson Skies, which is a great
Ace-
game.
Ace Combat 2, like if we're gonna be at least more relevant, like even Ace Combat 2 is a much better game.
Yeah. And I know like the X-Wing TIE Fighter games, there's a lot of flying in there, but those games are much more than that. There's Rebel Assaults, of course. You know, like there've always been flying games. It felt like Afterburner. Like there's always been flying games. And this game's flying is serviceable. It does the job, but it's not why you come for this. This is to get your sci-fi on, get your nerd on, you know, and enjoy some wacky costumes and some like techno babble and, you know, kind of exploring this weird futuristic thing. But then you run into guys with mullets playing guitars in the mess hall. And it's like, I like that guy. That's a cool guy. It's going to be sad when he dies.
My favorite is still the scene with Biff in the mess hall where he's like, no, everybody knows the maniac. And then they're just like, who here knows the maniac? It's like, seriously, nobody? I love that scene.
And there's like kind of dialogue choices where when you talk to people, occasionally you'll get like, oh, do you want this response or that response? I don't know how much it actually changes anything. Probably not. Yeah, it's definitely an ambitious game for its time. And I think where it does well, it does really well, which is the walking around the ship and talking to people and sort of like kind of engaging in the Wing Commander lore, if you will. Like, I think it does that part really, really well. And I wouldn't be surprised if BioWare took a little bit of influence from that for when they eventually did Mass Effect.
It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. But the gameplay part, the flying on the ship stuff is okay. You know, it is what it doesn't feel like you're moving. I don't get the sensation that I'm actually like flying in space shooting stuff. It literally feels like I'm staring at a screen that moves around so I can shoot people. Like you don't get that sense, that like immersive sense, especially because it's first person. I don't get that feeling that I'm actually in the air, in space, flying around doing shit. You know what I mean? Because like the background is very still, like there's just no sense of like real movement. You know what I mean? Like you can maneuver, but it just doesn't feel it feels like I'm playing Microsoft Flight Simulator, but like an older version of it with like cockpit controls, you know?
Yeah. It was definitely the first. So this game was the first Wing Commander game that used like 3D polygon graphics. It kind of shows. Yeah. It's fine. Like it looks like a game of the era, and like I think it looks perfectly serviceable for what it is.
It's all right.
It honestly kind of matches with the cinematics for the time, because the cinematics are kind of old too, and
it looks like a made for TV like sci-fi movie, or like a honestly it looks a little like DS9.
Yeah, a little bit.
like the costume design and the sets.
The ships are very blocky because they could only do so much with the polygons, so they had to design the ships around that.
Count the polygons, kids.
I do like the ship designs though. Even though they're blocky, they're kind of fun.
Oh yeah, and then they further develop them later on because they're sequels, and I mean, heck, I think there is a ship design on one of these things. Yeah, like this guy. Can't really see it, but it looks neat. It's very Star Trek influenced, but it's more angular.
It reminds me of Starship Troopers for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it wasn't far away.
Yeah, that was right around the same time.
Oh yeah. Great movie.
It's a bit of a spoiler for anyone who hasn't played it, so I'll just not that it really matters that much, but
cover your ears.
One of my favorite moments in this game is there's a scene there. One of the eventually the plot progresses where like the good side, I guess, in this plot. They develop a planet killer, essentially, and there's an entire mission basically based around you have to protect the planet killer, and just the irony of Luke Skywalker having to protect a planet killing machine device is just really funny to me.
It's like it's the size of a heat object in the sky that creates a lot of murder. What would you call that? Like a murder asteroid? No,
That's no moon.
A kill right? No, that sounds stupid. A Death Star? No, that sounds stupid. I don't.
Yeah.
Something like that. So we'll workshop it later.
Yeah. No, just the irony of that I thought was really funny. I'm like, they had to have done that on purpose.
That is funny. And it's also funny that I just thought about, like, John Rhys Davies has done other video game stuff. Like, I know him from another FMV game called Ripper.
Mhm.
Which, do you know Ripper?
I remember it. I haven't played it, but I know of it.
Okay. For our audience that doesn't know, Ripper was a PC game made by, I believe it was Take-Two, and is like this weird futuristic kind of detective game where there's like a new Jack the Ripper and he's doing it through the internet. But it's known for having like Christopher Walken, John Rhys Davies, Paul Giamatti, David Patrick Kelly, Burgess Meredith, Jimmy Walker, like Tawny Welch, like a star-studded cast. And like the theme of the game is "Don't Fear the Reaper" by Blue Oyster Cult. Like they have the song,
More
and for real. And it's a very weird game. Like its puzzles are very obtuse, very like kind of Moon Logic-y in certain spots. And it's just a weird, wacky game that I don't know if it has any official release anymore, but it's worth looking into. I learned about it through the Spoonie one because he used to talk about weird PC games. So of course, something like that's going to catch the eye. It came on 6 CD-ROMs back in the day. And it's one of those games that you're constantly swapping discs going through places. Like there's some games like Under a Killing Moon were really bad at disc swapping. This game doesn't do that as far as I know. It's just like it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, when you get to certain points, it's like change the disc. Like, fucking fine. You know?
Yeah.
Kids today don't know about disc swapping. They don't know.
Ironically, Mass Effect you had to disc swap.
Oh, really?
Only on 360, because of the certain parts of the game would be like on disc 2, and then other parts would be on disc 1.
It was Mass Effect 2, right?
Yes, because Mass Effect 1 was a single discer.
If I remember, Mass Effect 2 was pretty clever about it, and that the first disc had the beginning and the ending of the game on it, and the second disc had the middle stuff. So like the first disc is you'd play the beginning part, do that opening bit, and then you'd go to disc 2, do all your shit, and then come back to disc 1, and then it would check all the shit that you did and give you the suicide mission, you know, based on all the stuff you had done, which is actually a clever way of doing 2 discs, I think.
Yeah. I know a lot of people who played that game would constantly go like to stuff back on disc 1 and they'd have to switch all the time. And I'm like, you're just playing it wrong.
Yeah. It's so weird. The 360 games were on multi-discs back then. Like, I mean, hell, like today I bought a couple 360 games, and one I bought was a Forza Motorsport 4, which 3 and 4 do the same thing where you can just play the game on disc 1, no problem. But they had a second disc for all like extra shit that they couldn't fit on the disc. So in the menu, it would just say, oh, you know, put in disc 2 and we'll like install the rest of it onto your hard drive so you can play the whole game on disc 1. Basically, just like the rest of the tracks and cars and all that. But you can still play the game just fine on disc 1. It's the reason I actually fixed the disc drive on my 360, because it was the 360S model. Well, it is the 360S model. And like it would just kind of go off and on randomly because it's like those weird sensors. So at first I just disconnected the ribbon cable and was like, it's fine. But then when I got that, I was like, when I got 3, I was like, maybe I should try to figure out how to fix this. And all it was the ribbon cable was a bit dirty. So I cleaned it with some alcohol and it was fine. So there you go. And yeah, like Lost Odyssey had 4 discs. I talked about that with Rick on Pixel Project. Blue Dragon's 3 discs. Final Fantasy 13's 3 discs. LA Noire was 3 discs. I remember a lot of people were weirded out by that.
It was really just the sign that was like Blu-rays were the future kind of thing.
Yeah, Blu-rays were adopted at that point. Xbox stuck with DVDs. I mean, it would have been interesting if the 360 was an HD DVD drive, like baked into it, not the separate one.
Well, they had HD DVD was just kind of doomed from the start.
I know, but like if they wanted to stick with that format, if they had baked it into the 360, it probably would have lasted longer. But I don't think Microsoft was willing to do that.
Derek Alexander, Stop Skeletons from Fighting, did a pretty interesting video talking about how the HD. He did a whole thing about the HD DVD drive and like how it kind of was like designed. It kind of deliberately, like, Microsoft like basically didn't care about it, and like it was part of the rise of Netflix. It was a really interesting video. I recommend like checking out at some point.
Yeah. HD DVD was kind of doomed from the start because it felt like Blu-ray. But didn't Blu-ray hit first?
HD DVD first, and then Blu-ray came out after. But Blu-ray was just significantly better.
Yeah, because HD DVD was Panasonic, right?
Yes.
And because they had done the original DVD, I think. And then Sony was like, "Oh, we have like the Blu-ray or something." I forget.
Blu-ray was a partnership between Sony and Philips.
Okay, how ironic. And and then Panasonic did the HD DVD, and then that whole mess,
Basically, with all media formats, porn went to Blu-ray, and that just automatically made Blu-ray win.
Is that what happened? I feel like the PS3 helped Blu-rays as well.
It was partially that, but that's just always been like the thing. Like it's like, even though like you go back to like VHS and Betamax, the porn argument only makes sense with VHS, whereas it felt like by Blu-ray standards, like was it really? I don't know. That's kind of just how it always goes. Like, because it's funny because Betamax was technically superior in quality, but VHS could hold more, I think, and porn went with VHS, and that was it.
Yeah, Beta can hold, I think, roughly like an hour and 20 minutes on it, whereas a VHS tape could go like over 2.5 hours. So yeah,
and I believe
I've watched a Beta tape. It is cleaner than a VHS, but unless you actually look at it, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big a difference.
I think it was a similar thing with like Blu-ray and HD DVD. Blu-rays could hold more, so that just kind of automatically defaulted them to win.
Yeah, I think so. And now we are where we are, where I think Microsoft has to pay Sony a slight fee for having the Blu-ray drive in the Series X.
Yeah, that was exaggerated from what I've heard. Apparently, it's barely a drop in the bucket.
No, but Sony was smart because I think part of why VHS and DVD succeeded so well was once they were made, they became like public domain, basically. So anybody could make them, no problem. Whereas Sony, when they did the Blu-ray, they're like, no, we're keeping this, so that when people make a Blu-ray, they have to pay us a little something.
Yeah, I think Sony and Philips both get a
little cut. Yeah, probably like micro pennies or something.
Yeah.
How many people are making Blu-rays these days? Not as many.
Not as many, but there's still physical media still has its fans, and there's still a very strong
but yeah, and Blu-ray never took over the way DVD took over VHS.
True. Yeah, because you can still get DVDs to this day.
Oh yeah. And all Blu-ray players play DVDs, so.
Yep. So before we get into like reception, I have to ask, what do you think of the soundtrack?
There was a soundtrack?
I mean, you had like music. It was mostly like orchestral, atmospheric kind of stuff.
I never noticed it,
Okay.
Because it's like it wasn't John Williams, so it wasn't gonna be that, or the guy who did the soundtracks for the OSTs for Star Trek 2 and 3. Can't remember his name off the top of my head, but like his soundtracks are really good. So it's not to that quality, but it's fine. Like I didn't notice it, so
it was.
I don't know what that says about me.
It was George Oldsey. I think
what a name! What a fucking name!
He, for what it is, I found it. It sounded very sci-fi, and it fit the game. Not as memorable as like Mass Effect. We're gonna keep always going back to Mass Effect here, but it was fine for what it was. Like most things about this game, it was very fine. Like,
Yeah.
um,
James Horner. That's the guy who did the scores for
Gotcha.
Star Trek 2 and 3. And I guess he's had issues with quote unquote borrowing from other people, but it's music, whatever.
So reception wise, this game was critically acclaimed.
Oh, I could see why.
The lowest score I can see here is, so there's Maxim gave the PlayStation version 3 out of 5 stars.
Wait, that Maxim? The one I'm thinking about?
So the Wikipedia article doesn't give a link, so it makes me think it's not that Maxim, but
I mean,
you never know. Maybe they reviewed video games.
I'm seeing Maximum, but I'm not seeing Maxim.
Oh, that's just me reading wrong. It was Maximum.
Dude, that's a Freudian slip right there.
Hey, you never know. I mean, Playboy used to review video games, so
I want to read those now.
they were so bad. But yeah. The other lowest rating was the EGM gave the 3DO version a 7.5, which I mean that's fine. That's not a bad review at all.
Yeah, like it's getting like 5 stars, like very high, like 8 out of 10s, and I totally get why, because at the time, like this is very next level stuff,
There's
next
a reason
generation, if you will.
Yeah. Like this is kind of like flashback, not in terms of like how it's aged, but in terms of how like people who played it back in the day view it. Like people love this game. Like the people who like played it back then, like they all have nothing but positive things to say. Like, and I can see why. Like there is a lot to like about this game. It's just when you play it now from a modern standpoint where you've just seen better, its flaws kind of stick out a bit.
Yeah, but I think it's a game that's aged better than the previous 2 games we've talked about in this way. Like it was still an enjoyable experience from the time that I had with it, despite my getting stuck on one mission. There was still like a lot to like to it, and it had a charm to it,
Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of tempted to play Wing Commander 4 now, just because kind of in the mood. But that's probably for another time.
I've heard Wing Commander 4 isn't as good.
I've heard that too, but some people say it's the best one, so I don't know.
I guess if you're like a super fan, I don't know. It's probably not Star Trek 4, which is the best one. But
Yeah.
the whales. I got the whales.
It's kind of sad though, like Origin, like their downfall is really kind of sad to me because they basically got shut down by Microsoft, and their trademark would later be not Microsoft, EA. Their trademark would later be recycled as EA's Steam for a while there.
Oh, that's right.
But apparently EA
God,
recently
right.
EA recently just got rid of the Origin name, and now it's just the EA app.
Oh yeah, because it's tied to like EA Plus or something.
Yeah, I think they got rid of the Origin name because all the people that were pissed that they were using Origin for that.
Yeah, because Wing Commander 4 was one of the last games they did. Then they did that Wing Commander Prophecy, which is the 5th game in the series.
That's the Game Boy Advance one, isn't it?
It had a PC version in 97 and then got a GBA port in like 03, which felt just completely fucking random, but whatever.
I have that, and it's very it's something.
It's whatever. Yeah, and then Ultima Online started around that time, and I think some people still like Ultima Online for what it is. It probably has fan servers. And then Ultima 9, which was the game that killed that series.
Yep.
Killed it fucking dead. There's a really good video, I forget the guy who did it, where it's the history of RPGs, and it's like the super long video. And there was a point in like the late 90s where like Ultima and Wizardry and all that were still going, but they were just making like these games were taking too long to make. And when they came out, they were just not great. But you had companies like BioWare and the people who made the original Fallout, and even Bethesda coming through with like games like Daggerfall and Baldur's Gate and all that, kind of signaling the next era for RPGs at this time.
Yeah.
So and it's weird. It feels like we're kind of hitting that again almost.
Hmm.
Because RPGs are in a weird spot.
One last thing about Wing Commander before we go to okay, must play, stay away. Do you remember the Wing Commander film?
The Freddie Prinze Jr. one.
Yeah, the one with Shaggy and Scooby. I mean, Shaggy and Fred.
Which one, Scooby? I know of it. I've never watched it. I've heard it's fucking terrible.
So Chris Roberts actually directed it, which is really funny to me. That
I mean, he has one on Kojima. He's actually made a movie.
he has. So it's really funny because my dad loves this movie, and he had no idea it was based on a video game.
Is it like so bad it's good?
It's not even that it's bad. It's just so average. Like it's like
Because Rotten
It's-
Tomatoes has it as a 10%, which
I don't
is
think
not
it's,
good.
I don't think it's that bad. I watched and I was just like, it's just so. It's like the most average sci-fi movie I think I've ever watched. Like to be honest, the
Well,
most.
maybe we
entertaining-
should watch it.
I'd have to get a copy of it. I don't actually, or see if it's on streaming.
It's- Yo ho ho, a pirate's
True.
life for me. It's a
Um,
movie. It's a movie. Who fucking cares?
True.
Um,
To be honest, the last
you-
time I watched it was like a decade ago, so it might be worse than I remember.
well, I've never seen it, so it's not on any streaming. I'm not paying YouTube $4 to watch this.
It's probably like $1 on eBay if I really want to watch it.
If you really want that DVD,
Yeah.
yeah. Here,
But,
hold on. let me check some here. Let's see. I was just seeing if somebody had put it on YouTube sneakily, and they haven't. They have not.
Huh.
But it's on one of those many sites. You know the ones.
The ones like the seven C's, if you
Yeah.
know.
If I ever watch a movie, that's usually what I do. I'm like, oh, I want to watch this movie, and then I'll see if it's on a streaming service that I have, and it's usually not. So then I go find it other means. I watch it and go, cool, and then I move on.
So if you really need to see this movie, it is you can get it for $4 on Amazon right now.
Well, maybe we should put it as a poll.
Yeah.
For on Twitter, if you guys want us to watch the Wing Commander movie and review it as like a special episode.
Yeah. But yeah, so now must play, okay, stay away. I'm gonna say play it on PlayStation.
Play it on
Um,
PC.
Or well, PC. If you can find, I've heard PC, the version on there isn't the best because it's not optimized for modern PCs. Unless
It's
they
on GOG.
fixed that.
Well, it's on GOG,
So maybe they finally fixed that.
and currently on GOG, it is $1.49.
Okay. So
So there you go, dirt cheap.
I'd say okay, and if you're gonna play it on either PlayStation or PC. Don't play the 3DO version.
No,
They-
that's probably where I fucked up, was playing it on there because I didn't enjoy it all that much, but I think it was just because like the gameplay stuff and all that optimized for the 3DO was rough. Because then when I looked at PC stuff, I'm like, oh, this looks so much better.
Yeah.
This looks like the game I would have wanted to play, and I didn't pivot, which I've done before, but I didn't this time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's $1.49 on GOG at the moment. Trying to see if there's any like their user reviews are pretty high. The first one I saw was this game saved my life as a teenager. Holy fuck, dude! There's probably some fucking nerd who just didn't have anything better to do, so it's like the one thing keeping him around.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fine game. It's just it's very much a product of its time. I can see why this game is loved so much, but unlike Flashback, I actually found the game to be an enjoyable experience for the most part. It just it just kind of jank nowadays. That's just
but I still think it's cool. I think it's a game that I'm like, I've always had a soft spot for FMV games, and I know the Wing Commander series has its fans, and I totally get that. And this is just something that just makes you go, oh, that's cool. That's neat. So I can't shit on the game because that just I don't want to, because I'm just like I think this is cool for what it is. So it's definitely worth checking out, I think. But I would say it's okay. Yeah, if you do want to play that PlayStation version, or just get the PC version on GOG and play it that way. It might be on Steam, I don't know, but to play that PC version, it's probably the easier way to play it these days. So there you go.
But yeah, so not sure what game we're gonna cover next. I
meant to ask you.
I was kind of thinking about maybe the Horde.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's do the Horde.
Okay. It might not be the next episode we do. We might do like another side episode before that. But that is the next game we're gonna play. We're gonna play the Horde.
Yeah, that'll be the next big one. Maybe we should do like an Army Man thing.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe we can start touching on those.
Yeah, because on my little Ambernick, it has. Were there 3 Army Men games on GBA?
There's 3 on GBA. There's Advance, Operation Green, and Turf War.
Yeah, and I keep seeing them going. Should I pull the trigger on playing one of these fuckers? Should I do it?
Advance is hilariously mediocre. That's all I'll say.
I mean that's my life, man. So I'm fucking here for it.
All right, so yeah, we'll settle on the Horde as our next main game, and we might have a few side content in the process while we play that one. But yeah, so once again, guys, thanks for joining us on the 3DO Experience. You can find the 3DO Experience on all the major podcasting platforms, along with YouTube with video versions every week, I guess. Lovely. And you can find all of our links at the audio listeners won't get that.
No.
You can find all of our links at linktree/thebarbergames, and you can, if you'd like, you can come join us over on the GNC Podcast Network Discord server to talk all things gaming, collecting, 3DO Experience, Geek Addicts, Talk Gaming Animator, just general nonsense. And Threk is streaming tonight, and you can find that at the link below, or for the audio listeners at twitch.tv/Threk94.
I'm gonna be playing Cameo, Elements of Power.
Changing it up this week.
Well, it's the game for this month in the game club in the Superpod Saga Discord. So gotcha. I wanna play it. I'm gonna play it on stream.
Nice, and I'll be sure to include the link to that in the description of the video.
Mm-hmm. And when Hellblade 2 comes out in 2 weeks, I will be playing that on stream. I will be streaming my entire playthrough of that.
Nice.
So that'll be cool.
All right. And with that, everybody, we will see you all later.
Bye-bye.
If you're not playing on a 3DO system, what are you playing with?